G'day guys, Calvin, Cartoon New Zealand. I've got an email from a man who has got a new Link G4x. It's on his 1uz because I do 1uzs. Okay, so pretty much most of my stuff's 1uzs, except for the jet boat I've been doing today, but that's not a 1uz. We're going to go through some setup. This man is trying to get his engine running. It was wired by someone else. Happens to be a guy who wires quite a few 1uzs. And hey, I'm not here to steal people's intellectual property. I don't really care. I've got my own. If I supply a computer with to one of my customers, I supply a map in it, or I can supply maps, and I test and run them. And it'd be nice if everyone else did that. The man that this loom came from, I believe he has a test engine in his workshop, and that it's probably been run up. But possibly there's some things that have been changed, or someone's been fiddling, or I don't really care. We're going to get it right. I actually saw a loom the other day from someone else, and I saw the base map in that, and there is no way it would start or run the vehicle. And I think that's kind of shitty, you know. As a Link dealer myself, we are responsible for supporting the products that we sell. That's part of our dealer agreement. So it's interesting to look at this base map, and it actually looks pretty good. So a couple of tweaks, and we will have it up and running. And I'm going to show you the process. I'm going to yab it to myself up in my lounge, to myself, which would make me totally crazy, except I've got a camera go. Let's get into it and see what we can do. The man can watch the video. Hopefully he'll learn. Everyone will learn. I'm going to be working at my pace. So if I'm going too fast, you're going to have to use the pause button, because I don't have a pause button. I'm doing it late, so I'm a little tired, so maybe that'll make me go a little bit slower. Right, let's get into this. So I've got here the pinout for the setup. It's for a Monsoon. It's on a non-VVTi 1uz. It's got an interesting air temp sensor. I've got a photo of that. There's the air temp sensor. Flick over here. We've got a CAN lambda installed. And we've got this printout here of the wiring setup. There's also a couple of photos of plugs and bits and pieces. And this gives us a fairly good idea of what's going on. We've got 4 injector drives, so they're paired injectors. Got 4 ignition drives, so it's wasted spark. They're paired up correctly as per a wasted spark paired to TDC events, and the injectors are wired semi-sequential. So we've got to make sure we set that up. Let's look at the start. We're going to look at trig 1 and trig 2. I've actually already downloaded the map. I'll just see if I get the right one. As long as up here it says Monsoon base, then we're good. Non-VVTi. If it said, if there's a storm base in here as well. There it is there. And that's a tune that I use quite a bit. And it came actually from a G4 Plus platform, which is here. Drift Session, Sean Sylvia. And it's been converted over to G4x. You can't just load the software. You have to swap things over, and it takes some time. And I bribed the guys at Link, and they did a few for me. I don't really know if that's a big advantage. Sometimes it pays to go through and check everything yourself. So we're going to check out those triggers. We're going to start, though, of course, to check that it's on an 8-cylinder, 4-stroke. It's good. The description. Haha. Cartoon NZ was here. We'll just double tick, and so this is going to be a 1uz non-VVTI base setup. Oh, we'll just have to call it base. It started beeping at me. Good. And we're firing order 18436572. Yeah, that's good. You get rid of that view. Right, let's go down to the trigger settings. Trigger 1 setup. Multi-tooth. Now, we have the option in here to swap that if we wanted to 1uz VVTI, if we were running the different trigger wheel, or 1uz FE for the normal 12-tooth trigger wheel. So this is set multi-tooth. If we look to trigger 1, there we go, 12-tooth on the crank. So it's the same as a 1uz, and cam pulse times 1. I'm fine with that. That's not a problem for me. Either way is going to work. Whichever way you're comfortable with. If you want it on 1uz, put it on 1uz, and that's how I normally do them. We'll look over here at my storm map. Storm. Down we go. Triggers. There we go. Trigger setup. 1uz FE. Default. Trig 1 is a reluctor. Trig 2 is a reluctor. But here's a difference here. And there is a problem as well. Because this has been converted over, when it swapped over, it changed the timing. So that is going to cause me problems. I'm going to put in a different offset. So we're going to hit the timing button. You should always check your base timing. Regardless of how many times you've run a tune, always check your base timing. And I use 355. Coming from here, 355. I generally use the sensor on the same side as the crankshaft, so on the left hand side, and I push done. Did you see how it didn't change the trigger offset? What I didn't do, 355, I didn't push enter. There, it's changed the trigger offset. It may be late, but I'm still not going to miss those sorts of things. We're just going to save that. You should just be able to save it. Okay, so we'll go back to this one. Trig 2's reluctor, down to calibrate. Minus 355. So that is going to give a difference in timing. So when this one fires up, I do expect the owner to calibrate the base timing. I've got another video on that with the blue engine, so that's really important. And regardless, I will do it every time. No matter what, without fail, I will check that base timing. I've seen it where cam sensors around the wrong way, or crank sensors around the wrong way, and it moves that timing a little bit. Other issues or slightly different damage to trigger wheels and all sorts of different things. So that's why I always check it. If that's good enough to run, it may change, but that one will be alright for now. Now, so that's the triggers, and I've corrected my own trigger map. Back over here, Trig 1, Trig 2, Temp 1 ECT. Okay, let's check that Trig 1. Sorry, Temp 1 Monsoon base. So I click on. So we have the little drop down arrow here, which is really handy. you know, for checking what's going on. We'll just shut all them for the moment, and we'll go down. We'll just close that one. Analog inputs right here. Engine coolant temp, that's there. Analog temp 1, yes. This is interesting too, and I think that's a really cool idea. I'm probably going to use that tomorrow, because that's a great idea, putting it at -1 as a fault setting. So it has got, if it has a fault, okay, it'll read -1 degrees. Very cool. Just set to Bosch NTC. Perfectly fine for Toyota. You've got a drop-down menu with all the different options. We're going to leave that one alone. And 0.05, I often find once I've got them calibrated and set up, that could be moved up a little bit higher. But the other one, 4.95. And those, if the sensor's unplugged, for example, it will throw a fault code. If it's slow, if it's got, if it's reading 20 degrees when it's meant to be 40 degrees, that won't bring up a fault code. So we need to understand how these fault codes are set as well. But that's cool. So that's that one. I think we've got air temp in here. We bang here. Inlet air temp. So that's this fella here. Monsoon base. And we pop down here. Input pin. GP input. Inlet air temp. Analog temp 2. 0.5. So it's the same settings. And I really like that -1. That's a cool thing to do. The other thing you can do with your fault settings, so you've got some options, is to set it at a normal setting. So your other option with the fault setting is to do this, 30 degrees here. So if it does fault, it runs relatively normal. We're going to pop back here for a moment. ECT. Now, ECT, if you have it at -1, it means it will run incredibly rich. So you've got another option here. If your ECU is controlling your fan, to have it above the fan output. So say your fan switches on at 95, you have your fault code at 96. So if anything faults, it goes 96 degrees. It will turn on the fan. It is going to be horrible to start when it's cold, but it's actually going to drive okay and get you home. So you've got a couple of options there. Michael can decide which way he's going to go. Right, what do we got? Here's that air temp sensor. So we were doing air temp sensor. It's set on Bosch NTC, but it's possibly an AC. So when you're looking at your figures, something close, and a lot of the AC Delco stuff is pretty close, even when set on Bosch NTC. But we've also got these couple of Delphis, which are often good for the American stuff. And so just keep an eye on that. I'm not going to change it. Michael, when he's working his way through this, he's going to be watching this video. He's going to have the video on the screen. He's going to have his laptop in front of him. He's going to have his program out. He's going to be following along and pushing buttons and hopefully trying to understand what I'm doing. Right. He said we're going back to there. We're going back to this one here. Yep. We've got a TPS on analog volt 1. See, I would normally put my TPS on analog volt 3. And it's just my personal preference. From wiring links from years, that's where it always has been. But it can be put anywhere. It doesn't matter. As long as we line it up in the correct place. So it's an analog and throttle position sensor. So we come down here. Oh, it shows it's on analog volt 2. Analog volt 2 crossed out. Analog volt 4. Analog volt 1. Now he told me he calibrated it, but it's on, listed here as analog volt 1. So what this should actually say here, and you can see here it's showing analog volt 1 map sensor. So there's some problems. Now I know the map sensor isn't on analog volt 1. We know that. So let's solve these two problems sort of simultaneously. Map sensor. So let's take that off. Turn it to none at the moment. We know it's got one though, and it should be internal. Let's go input pins. Let's go analog volt 1 here. And TPS there. Let's turn this one off. Oh, no, let's move it to there. Let's move it to there for now. So it leaves analog volt 2, and analog volt 3. That's really interesting, isn't it? I should say that this is new software, so every now and again it does throw up little things that I haven't seen before. What I'm going to do, we're going to just flick this down. I'm going to flick that down, flick that down, flick that down. I'll flick that down. I don't want to look at myself for now. We're going to open another one. File. Open. Atom sample. Analog inputs. Input pins. 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Let's do that again. File. Open. Now I was working today on a jet boat. Tuning maps. It's Nathan's boat. Bear Monsoon file. Monsoon. I put an extra O in there. Let's have a look here. Analog inputs. Input pins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Internal map active. See, we got a problem here. This new software at this point can catch you out. Look at that. Because we should be able to turn the map sensor internal map to active. And I think what's happened is this has had this file here, which is the atom sample with 3 loaded into this computer. And that would make sense. And that would make it very hard for anybody to make it work. Okay. Yes, I'm thinking. So what are we going to do? Okay, I'm going to simplify this. We'll get rid of this storm base. Yeah, we'll save that. Sure. This atom base. Now there's our 3. Let's ditch that one. Nathan's Boat base Monsoon file. Monsoon base non-VVTI. And we'll leave up the G4 plus. Okay, we can do this. This will make a lot more sense. So this is Monsoon base. I don't believe there's anything in here. 4-stroke. Injection mode's off. Nothing's turned on. So this is actually a nice clean base file to work from for a Monsoon, which the man has, which has the necessary temperatures and voltage inputs. In the past, I could take a storm profile and I could load it into a Monsoon, even though a storm had 8 and a Monsoon had 4 injectors and 4 ignition. Storm 8 injection, 8 ignition. It'd still load in, but it seems with the G4x that doesn't work quite the same. It's probably an encouragement to make sure you set up every map from scratch. Right, let's do this, shall we? Configuration. We're going to call it 1uz Monsoon base TD traditional. Right, put some numbers in. We probably should put a 8-cylinder. Bang. Okay. 1, 8. Make sure you push enter after you enter the number. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. We're good. Now I'm going to save as, and I don't want it in Nathan's Boat anymore. I'm in a new folder. 1uz non-VVTI. Ooh, what's this one? No, that was someone else I was playing with. So that's not actually going to do me. And we're going to do base Monsoon file. Traditional. Okay. 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, 2. Firing order's done. Let's go down to the triggers. Trigger setup. Multi-tooth. I'm going to do it my way. 1uz-fe. Calibrate. In here, I'm going 355. I'm going to push enter. I push done. Please check your base timing. We'll put in the analogs. ECT. It sure does have one, and it's on analog temp 1. Done. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to put it at 95. No, I'm not putting it at 96. This ECU doesn't have a fan output, but it's really easy to slam a pin in the hole. Personally, I would be putting a pin into the ECU and using that to fire the relay. By pins, they're really easy to put in, and we're just going to call it a Bosch NTC. Bosch NTC. Okay. we're going to go down analog temp 2, right there. It is an air temp sensor. Hey, doesn't want to click me in there. We'll go in here. There it is there. Analog temp 2, bam. Damn. I'm putting it at 30, which is sort of a normal running temp. And even though it's that one weird American thing, we're going to just call it NTC. The owner can check that as he's doing it. Let's just do a save at this point. So these are two analog temps. Look at this. Internal map sensor. Can't go on through there. We'll go here. Internal. Internal is preset as a 4-bar map sensor. Done. So that should solve a lot of problems. We had a TPS here. Got to go on through this one. TPS calibration, main source, analog volt 1. Bam. Error value, 10%. And these are generic. It will need to be calibrated. So ECU controls, map sensor setup, yes, and calibrate that map sensor regardless. Just do it anyway, so you know it's right. Let's just store that for now. Save that. Okay, so the other 3 analogs are turned off. 4, 2, 3, 4. Good. DI's off. Personally, I like a start input into the ECUs. And the reason I do that is it improves the cold start. We'll go over that another day. We've got some auxiliary outputs. aux1 is a fuel pump trigger. aux3 is an idle speed. And aux4 is a tacho. I can do that. Is it this one? Yep, it's this one. Okay. And one thing I actually noticed. We'll have a look, eh? See this one here? We go down here. We got digital inputs. Oil pressure switch on DI1. I'll do some investigation, eh? We'll open up that atom base file again. Atom base map. Let's see if there's a oil pressure switch on digital input 1. Input pins. Look at that. Yeah. I'll give the man who made this loom some shit later on. He's better than that, and he will be kicking himself. Right, let's do this. Oh, I don't want the end of a sample, so I've got to go in the middle now. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that atom sample because that's just a good way to confuse us, eh? Yep, we're in the right place. Right, auxiliary outputs. No check engine light. Chassis, no fan. As I said, I would pop a pin in for the fan. Fuel pump control. Standard. Yes, that's just a simple on-off. And it is on auxiliary 1. It goes to low. And 3 seconds of prime should be fine. So that's that one. Nothing on number 2. IAC on number 3. Output pins here. Auxiliary 3. Function here. Not again. What you got here, and you just got to watch right here. See the little drop down arrow? Right there, look at this. There's another one. Bam. There it is. It will be a PWM. PWM1. We're going to call it IAC. Idle air control, idle control. Just doubling up on the idle control. Output. It is on. It's on aux 3A. Taco's on aux 4. Yes. Let's just see how that looks, eh? We'll see what it brings up. I wonder if that's the bang on correct way. Hold there for a moment. No, I did it wrong. Just wait. New software. We're backing up a little bit. It's caught me out on the last one too. So don't follow my instructions. Do this. Idle control. Go down here to idle control. Idle control on. There we go. Yes, I do. And we're just going to leave it in open loop at the moment. The owner will need to set these up. Yes, I want them set. None. Don't want a speed lockout source. Cool. And that will bring up this stuff down here. RPM target. And one of the reasons I left this over here, so I can steal this stuff. Now, all this will need to be set up on the vehicle because it is quite vehicle specific. And unless it's set up just like mine, you may have some differences. And I'm just importing. Yeah, it did that last time too. When you cross it over, it does this single table. So I just got to do an access setup. And we give it a trigger, engine speed, push OK, initialize the axis, push OK, and bang, it all comes back again. There is still some idle speed issues with the G4x, so just be careful with that. If it's having problems, just turn it off for the moment, get it set up, get it running, and come back to it. Export to clipboard, back over here. And I'm actually going to leave my little blooper in because this is real life. And I think it's upsetting for me when you're doing something and of course it doesn't work like it does should on the video. The reality of it, you actually want to see that, hey, even I make mistakes. I don't have a problem that I do make mistakes. That should give you idle speed. And, hey, it might help someone else because they might make the same mistake. That's cool there. I've got to do taco. That's going to be down here, eh? I haven't actually done a taco yet. With this one, body and chassis, No. There it is. Look, there's a title for it. And we're putting it on auxiliary 4. Yeah, we're putting on aux 4 like that. Bang. Low 1. Depending what vehicle it's in, that can be used to set up whatever you're driving. So if it's driving a 4-cylinder tacho, more or less pulses, whatever, so you can calibrate your tacho correctly. So that's tacho on aux 4. Let's bang some fueling into it. Fuel setup. Fuel main. Semi-sequential. Semi-sequential. And that's a big change too with the X over the G4 Plus. They gave us semi-sequential as an option. What it means is on a 4-cylinder, you will get with a 4-cylinder, you will get some. Oh, sorry, with a 6-cylinder, you'll get your extra injector driver as an auxiliary. Those numbers are going to need to be moved. Okay, they're not going to be correct. So when you get it running, sit on the master fuel. I don't normally set up in traditional. I set up in modeled. So I haven't set up in traditional. I'm trying to think when I did a traditional, and it was quite a while ago. Give me a moment. I'll see if I can find some numbers that might be just a little bit closer in one of my past G4 maps. There was nothing really that I'm happy to fire across. I actually think this map might be just a little bit on the rich side, so I'm going to pull it down a bit. What have I ended up here? So what I'm going to recommend Michael does when he fires it up, grab the master fuel and just bring it down appropriately to give it a nice idle. And so it revs. And as it warms up, just keep adjusting the master fuel until it gets close to where we need it to be. Pre-crank, crank, pre-crank, prime. So I'm moving on. That's off. I normally have a start input on a digital input, and then I turn it on to start. If you have this on and people are flicking the key on and off rapidly, you can cause some problems. If you're having some starting problems, you can look at that. They should be good enough to make it run. Post-start enrichment. Table. Probably going to be, oh, that's not too bad actually. I'm happy enough for them. Now this is a startup map. It's not designed as a bass tune or a driving. They all seem to be turned off. No dual. Now one advantage that I often do with these is I have put 2 fuel maps in. Acceleration enrichment. Okay. And so we've got some new settings here on the G4X. So a sensitivity table across the range. And that's pretty cool. If you're not sure what each of these does, if you look down here, it will give you some more ideas. Okay. if you're not sure what to put in a table or somewhere like that, sometimes scrolling over some of the base maps can be a really, really good way to find some numbers. Find a vehicle that's close, put some numbers in. I think a 10 for acceleration enrichment might be for a sense, though 15 or 20 might also be okay. 25. There's some other cool stuff happening behind the scenes on acceleration enrichment, which should improve the overall results of acceleration enrichment on the G4x, which is going to change the acceleration sense numbers. Again, base map, it's important that it's there. If you're having issues with it, then you can adjust the appropriate spot. Ignition main off. Probably not going to work, eh? Wasted spark. Falling. Yep, that's good. Dwell control. Yeah, those coils probably won't like that much dwell. What are they going to be? Are they going to be a 3uz? I think I've got a dwell table here that's going to be more suitable. And yep. Let's see if that one crosses over, shall we? This was actually from like an Altezza. Altezza plugin is where I started with this because they're very similar in the coils. I'd expect 14 volts of charging, so around 3s. Probably a 2.8 would be better. Okay, that's some dwell control. And let's see what the timing table looks like. No. Let's grab this one. Yeah, I'm cheating. So I've got this one. Very conservative. Oh, I only put the one in this one. It's going with the conservative one. Excellent. Dwell, ignition, table 1. Is there anything else in here I actually need to set up? No, there's no corrections. No individual cylinder trim. Okay. No shift light. Let's just confirm we do have our IAC correct. Actuator type. Here we go. No. Solenoid. Output. There we go. There's a problem. I forgot to do that in idle speed. Number 3. And I reckon about 120 Hertz. Forward idle speed. Forward idle speed control 100 to 150 would be fine. Okay, that's good. And that should give me, up in these output pins, there's my IAC solenoid. Okay. Nothing. Digital inputs, there's should be nothing. Input pins. Now, I quite like being able to see these input pins. This is one thing I do like about the new software. There's still some things I don't like about the new software, like the idle speed, which caught me out, but there's some stuff I do like. What does the statistics down here do? Oh, it's just the normal statistics. Oh, we're okay. We're good, guys. Okay, he has something else. he's got a CAN lambda. So let's throw that in there. ECU controls, CAN setup, CAN 1 mode. We're going to user defined, 1 megabits, channel 1, and we're going to call it CAN lambda. Link CAN lambda right there. Why didn't it bring up an ID? Is 950 the correct ID for a CAN lambda? Apply. I'm sure it is, but let's go check. We're going to actually have to go OK. Okay, we'll store that now. We'll save that now. And we tuning, help, wiring information, and we'll do CAN. And we're going to just, we do CAN or CAN lambda. And there's some CAN information. I'll be back in a moment. We'll just find the CAN lambda stuff. Righto. Yeah, so CAN lambda was under device specific. Link CAN lambda. Here it is here. And there's your ID, 950. So I had the correct ID. Don't be ashamed if you have to use the search function or use the help function. That's what it's there for. And I see so many guys get on forums and go, how do I do this? Well, look in the help function and give the guys at the support guys, give them a break for this basic stuff. If you can solve it yourself, try to solve it yourself. I've got a problem with, I'm not displaying oil pressure on one. I can't find the answer there. So I'll be giving the boys a bit of a yell tomorrow. But if you can solve it for this sort of stuff, that's what the help function's for. So we've got the CAN lambda. There we go. Base file, traditional, yep. So it was CAN setup, user defined, CAN lambda. That should work. Onboard diagnostics is presently not working. I found that out the other day. A quick fire search function on a forum, on the link forum, found that it's not presently enabled, which was a bit annoying. But we'll get through that. They will sort it. And then you can actually go through, once you've done this and apply, you can go here and you can actually find it and confirm you've got communications with the CAN lambda. There's something else in here, eh? It should, yeah, so in the CAN lambda, set it to lambda 1. And if you do that, it should bring it up when you push the tuning as lambda 1 there. So you do your lambda allocation in the CAN section. Right, I think that map should be good to go. Or I should have given enough information for this man to get through it. He is going to calibrate the TPS, calibrate the map sensor, confirm the temperatures are correct. When he goes to fire up, he's been watching my other videos. He's going to check he's getting triggers. So he's going to bring up some tuning, runtime, triggers. Check you're getting some trigger signals here. Once it starts, he's going to check base timing. He's going to warm it up probably first using master fuel. Master fuel. Page up, page down. to keeping idling, keeping some revs on. If the idle speed control unit isn't working initially, don't stress. Probably just unplug it, warm it up, keep it running. Once it's warm, set a base idle of 700, 750. Then plug in the idle speed and set up some idle speed. There's other videos on that. We've babbled enough for tonight. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm sure there's going to be questions, but that is actually a whole setup. That has taken me nearly an hour to go through this, and that is a very fast setup. I would normally allow at least half a day of setting up, building a profile, getting the engine running, getting the vehicle running, to idling, sitting and revving nicely, and then I double check all the inputs and the temp inputs and stuff like that. I've normally got a lot more stuff going in. I've got oil pressures and stuff like that, extra digital inputs. I pretty much fill up the pinout when I do these. And that's why my looms do cost a bit more money. And they are going to come with a map that's going to work. So I'm going to hassle the crap out of the man that wired this. Cause as I said, we're building a friendship at the moment. And he'll be fine with that. And I've helped him as well, and helped his customers. This map, it is a base map. I'm going to get this man to fire it up, make it run. I'm not going to share my best maps, okay? I do share some, but I'm not going to share my best ones. I do save them for my paying customers. But I'll get this man to get it running, confirm it does run, and then we might even be able to pop it up on my Google Drive for other people to use, because that's what it's about. If you're doing link products, if you've got this far, hey, I'd love you to buy the stuff off me, but I do understand that there's only one of me and there's only so much wiring I can do. So I hope that's been helpful. We'll talk to you again soon. Catch you later.